right, we are back for the Personal Healthcare Reform Talk Show on Pegasus NetWaves, riding that mythical horse, taking your health to a higher level. And it is, if you didn't know, it is not just November, it is Movember. So all guys out there, actually it's No Shave November as well. So either you can rock that really, really wild 70s mustache if you really want to. I will just say if you do that, you're not going to get any dates this month. Okay, it's creepy. Or you can go straight up mountain man and just not shave at all. I'm going to go mountain man and full on rock star because I'm still growing my hair out for St. Baldrick's coming up in April. So it is Movember, and with that, I've got two guests on this month that the guys are going to love a lot, and the girls might even like them too. So we're going to be talking about men's health and everything else for this month. I know last month was women's health, but we kind of covered that in August with most of my guests then. So what we're going to do today, we got a little health and news. It's going to be quick because I want to give ample time for my guest today. I'm not going to tell you who it is because, well, it's a biggie, and you just have to wait around to find out who it is here in just a little bit. So, health and news. Let's start off. Go visit me, clintfuquay.com. That's FUQUA.com, personalhealthcarereform.com, and check out my health partners, MedCall Assist, because it's going to get cold, it's going to get snowy, it's going to get rainy, it's going to be nasty outside, and the best thing in the world to have is an ER doctor on your phone in case you get sick, in case you get stuck, in case you get stranded, whatever. They can take care of you within 2 minutes, 21 languages, anywhere in the world. If you need an ambulance, need care flight, anything like that, they cover it 5 times a year. How about that? And that ain't cheap. So you get that. You also get your own medical kit. It's an awesome, incredible service. So if you have health insurance, great. You still need this service. If you don't have health insurance, or if you got dropped by your health insurance company, which right now is November 4th. By the time you hear this show, we'll have all voted, and you'll be getting hundreds of thousands of people will be getting notifications of, guess what? Here's your new rate for insurance. So if you decide not to take on that new rate, you're going to need something to take care of yourself with. And MedCall Assist, that's one good way to do it. Also, of course, Kinesi Athletic Christmas is coming up. So if you have an athlete, if you have somebody that works out, you want to get them the best workout clothes and gear that they're ever going to have, yoga pants, what have you, go on my website, clintfuquay.com, check out Kinesi. They will love you forever, and the clothing's going to last you forever because it's very, very incredibly high-quality stuff. So check that out. Great Christmas present there for the healthy person in your life. Or if you're trying to get healthy and work out, good clothing helps. And, of course, ID Life. January's coming up. You might as well get on the ball now. Start taking care of nutrition. Plus, it's cold and flu season. So the big question is, do you know how much vitamin D you're getting? Are you getting the right kind? Are you getting the right amount? My guys over at ID Life know how much you need. It's a pretty cool service. So go online, go on my websites, take the free health assessment. It's free, people. It's free. Take it. It could save your life, quite literally, or at least make your life a whole lot better. Also, the ID Wellness app, $4.99 a month, custom nutrition, custom workouts, custom diet, custom everything for you, and tons of health information on that thing. It's only $4.99 a month. We invested $8 million in this thing. It's incredible. And then, of course, my new one that's coming on, Human, which is connecting you and me to good nutrition, especially for all the businesses out there that need some good vending, healthy vending, and even some free vending, free snacks, stuff like that. So I'm going to roll that into my new Fortune Under 50 program that's going to start January 1st. I'm going to give the option to 5 companies out there. If you want to try this out, I'm going to give you some very, very, very good pricing for 5 companies, the first 5 that contact me between now and January 1st, just to check out what I'm going to be doing for this. And you've got to have less than 50 employees. That's the catch here. Fortune Under 50. Okay? I want to get you set up, start getting you taken care of for your health and wellness, because you need to know what you're going to be doing before 2016 rolls around. Because if you don't, guess what? The IRS has a little present for you, and you're not going to like that present. If you got more than 50 employees, well, you're going to be getting that present this year, so you should have thought about it last year. And let's talk about some stuff right quick before we get into health and the news. America's Future Series, which I do some stuff with. They have on 11/11 their cybersecurity and state of technology convention featuring Gordon England. He's the former Deputy Secretary of the Department of Defense and former Secretary of Homeland Security. So he's got some good cachet under him. It's going to be going from 11 to 1:30 at the Sheraton Hotel, 400 North Olive Street. $75 for members of America's Future Series and $150 for non-members. So membership has its benefits. You might want to become a member because we got all kinds of cool stuff coming up in the next year for that. Once again, it's America's Future Series 11/11 Cybersecurity and State of Technology Summit. It's going to be an awesome summit. Tons of information that you need to know. And for health and wellness, just everything is in the cloud now. All your records are in the cloud. You want to make sure that cloud is secure and your own personal cloud is secure. And everything because, the hackers are out there and they're active. And with that, health in the news, hitting the hot list. So, think about what you had for breakfast today, and then think about all the snacks that you're going to have tonight. And if you're having a lot of snacks tonight, that means you probably didn't have a protein-packed breakfast, which means tomorrow, get up, have some protein in breakfast because you won't be snacking as much at night, which is going to reduce that belly that you got. You're going to eat less, you're going to get healthier, you're going to look a whole lot better next year. So, protein for breakfast, good stuff. And, Thanksgiving's coming up, so is Christmas. And we like to do fried turkeys, or some people like to do fried turkeys. It's always fun for everybody else watching you burn a house down on YouTube. So, first off, make sure you don't add too much oil to that little thing. And if you're going to do it, use some olive oil, okay? If you're going to fry that turkey or you're going to fry your turducken or whatever else, use olive oil. It's going to help preserve the meat. It's going to be a lot healthier for you. If you're going to do it that way and don't burn your house down, please. And Aldi, the grocery chain, is going organic in 2015. That's right. They're going to have their own organic label stuff going out there. So everybody's going organic. What does that mean for you and me? That means the prices are going to start dropping everywhere for organics. So that whole 20% premium is going to go away. There'll be like a 5% premium on organics pretty soon. And, of course, it is fall and pumpkin. Everything is out there. The Starbucks pumpkin coffee, there's no pumpkin in that. Quit having that. It's trash. Anyway, but pumpkin seeds, great for breast health, great for prostate health, and cholesterol. So that's a 3-for-1. And it tastes really good, too. So enjoy that pumpkin pie. Enjoy the pumpkin seeds. And one other thing that takes a big hit this time of year is adrenal health, mostly because weather changed, a lot more sugar in the diet because of all the parties and everything else, and the cookies and candies and pies and all that stuff. All takes a toll on your adrenals, plus you got a lot of stress from in-laws and everything else, and buying presents and everything like that. So make sure you're sleeping, make sure you're taking care of adrenals. And if you want to know how to do that, contact me. I can show you how to take care of your adrenals because it's a very, very important thing. If you don't, that affects your thyroid, and then all your health goes to hell in a handbasket. One thing that will help out with that is some probiotics. That means some really good beneficial bacteria because they are now being linked to everything. Every disease that's being shown out there, different behaviors, mental status, everything comes from your gut. And last but not least, with that EWG, it's Environmental Works Group, they are now doing food scorers. They have a food scoring system. A 1 is perfect, a 10 is trash. Go on, check out their website, ewg.org. Get the app on your phone so whenever you're out shopping, you can get a food score for everything that you're purchasing, and you know if it's good or bad, how many chemicals are in it, what it's doing to you, to your health, and everything else. Incredible service by them. They've been putting this thing together for the past couple of years. Lots of money have gone into this. It's a incredible resource. So check that out and come back for the rest of the show because I'm bringing in a Cuban. Not a Cuban, cigar, because that'd be illegal. But I'm bringing in a Cuban. That's right, just think about the last name, Cuban, on my show. This is big time, people. We're going big. We are taking your health to a higher level on this one. So come back here in just a little bit for my guest. We're going to talk about men's body image issues on the show today.
Have you planned out your financial future? Or maybe you have avoided it. Hi, I'm Angela Tweeten. Check me out at thelucrativelady.com.
Hello, everybody on Pegasus Netwaves Radio. Are you tired of establishment politics and partisanship? Take some time in your day and check out hippopolitics.com, your source for smarter, middle-of-the-road, anti-establishment type politics. Hippopolitics.com, your source for smarter politics.
This is Michael Jones with Georgetown Mortgage, where we're community-minded just like you. Georgetown Mortgage offers a variety of mortgage products ranging from first-time home buyers to renovation loans all the way to reverse mortgages. If you'd like more information, please visit us online at TexasHomeLoanPro.com. TexasHomeLoanPro.com.
All right, we are back. Personal Health Care Reform Talk Show on Pegasus Netwaves, taking your health to a higher level, and it is Movember. It's No Shave November, so go ahead, go scruffy, guys. Enjoy it while you can, and shave it off in December, because the girls are going to be complaining the entire month about you getting shaggy and not shaving and looking like, and, well, seriously, the mustache is just not a good look, guys. It's not. I know we're doing it for a reason. Anyway, on for what we're going to be doing today, which I have a guest on. I have an incredible, huge guest. I'm thrilled to have this guy on here because he's been on a whole media whirlwind tour since his book came out. And, of course, it is Men's Health Month. We're going to be talking about men and body image because there is a big issue with men and body image that just doesn't get touched. It is a huge, huge elephant in the room because, well, we don't like to talk about this stuff, and we need to. So with that, I want to thank Mr. Brian Cuban for coming on the show. Brian, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. And of course, you brought your book out this year, Shattered Image.
It was, yes. Actually, it was August of last year.
Okay. So, yeah, that's right, because it's been a little bit over a year.
Yes.
I'm thinking, it's been a year since you brought it out. So, but yeah, it's an incredible book. I read it when it first came out. And, of course, it talks about you and your background and everything that you went through with body image and everything. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And if you want to give everybody a little bit about your backstory and everything, just not like anybody doesn't know who you are now, but
Sure. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm 53 years old. And people do know that my older brother is Mark, many people, and I have a younger brother, Jeff. I became anorexic as a freshman at Penn State University back in 1979. I transitioned to bulimia in 1980, and I stayed bulimic until I was 45 years old, so that was 27 years of eating disorders. And you can also add into the mix, I became an alcoholic at just 21. I became a cocaine addict at 27, a steroid addict at about 30, a suicide attempt at 44. And I managed to survive all that,
Yeah.
and with an underlying diagnosis of body dysmorphic disorder, which was not really understood back when I was first beginning to develop it, and has only really been studied in the last 10 years, even though it's been around for 100 years.
Oh, yeah, it's been around for forever, and especially with, you're a little bit older than I am, but growing up, whenever you grew up in 70s and 80s, as a young kid, what do you have? You got everything that you're looking at, that you idolize, that you're watching on TV. You've got all the cartoons out there. You've got G.I. Joe, you've got He-Man, you got everything else, which, of course, I was watching.
Well, back in my day, you really had Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and it was more the G.I. Joe dolls. That is what the bodies you looked at. And unless you stole your parents' Playboy and you were objectifying women at 15 years old in 1975. But yeah, it was more because we didn't have it was pre-digital. So we didn't have, unless you had an actual magazine, you didn't have those images. So it was more the action figures like G.I. Joe with the perfect body.
Yep.
There have actually been some studies, I believe, on the false body image that G.I. Joe presents.
Oh, yeah, well,
because kids like to play with G.I. Joe, and they put out a study that kind of extrapolates what the true measurements would be based on the measurements of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, well, they did that. They also looked at the old original G.I. Joes versus the new ones once you got into the 80s and 90s, where everything changed in G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe became like super soldier-ized, and so you've got that, and you got all the boys are looking at that, and of course, me included. And so it turns into if I don't look like that, I'm just that's the perfection. I got to start fitting into that somehow.
Absolutely, and I don't think we can blame media for body image. No one really knows what causes body image problems. We know that there is a mix of genetics and environment. There's a saying that Genetics loads the gun, environment pulls the trigger. But whether it comes to eating disorders or addiction, we know they're biologically based, but we don't know what parts of the environment will actually trigger, as in causation.
Yep.
We know there is a correlation, but we can't say what causes.
Yeah, it's the whole nature versus nurture, and then what portion of that actually causes somebody to go overboard into that.
Absolutely. What I do believe is that what the media has done and what we're all trying to look like, especially, men trying to look like the Spartans from 300 or Wolverine, all these images that we have now has lowered what I call the set point of normative discontent. And what normative discontent is when we all look in the mirror one day and say, that sucks. My hair sucks. I just can't go out.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I don't want to do that today.
Yeah. Guys do have bad hair days, by the way.
Yes, and like me, we have no hair days. Every time we look in the mirror. But we all look in the mirror and have those days, men and women. That's not a psychological disorder. But people who would otherwise be triggered into a psychological disorder, the set point has lowered where it's easier to cross that line, to be triggered, I think, into an eating disorder based on body image, to be triggered into some type of dysfunctional behavior, body dysmorphic disorder based on, the media.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't cause it, but it's a factor, and I think it has lowered that set point.
Yeah, well, you've got Facebook, you got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got everything else out there now. So, literally you're bombarded with it 24/7, 365. There's no way to get away from it unless you move into a cave.
No, and one thing that hasn't changed over the years from my days, and we still have now, is the need for acceptance.
Oh, yeah.
So you have this need for, certain people based on their psychological traits may be more needing of acceptance. I was very needing of acceptance, middle child syndrome, very in tune to what was said about me and internalize them, and that's how I formed my body image. You're still going to have that today, so it has become much easier, I think, to feel that feeling of not being accepted based on all these images. Got to look like this, or I won't get the date. Got to look like that, or I won't go to get a hold a girl's hand.
Yep. Go
to the prom. So I think it's changed in that manner.
Yeah, it factors into business too, because there's been a lot of studies that have been published here lately about the better you look in business, the more successful you'll be, the more money you'll make, the better you'll be doing sales, or the higher sales percentage you have. Of course, there's a myriad of studies on these. I will say, guys out there, just so you know, most of the studies looking at dating and girls, they like personality and they like funny much more than they like the six pack.
Well, people are visual. People are visual. That is how we evolved, and we have eyes, and that I get that. But I think we have to be careful when we revolve all that around body image, because then you start getting into fat stigma and you get into fat shaming. And I wish as a society we would take a more whole look at somebody in the realm of whether that person will be accepted. We're grown adults, but this is very important when kids are developing and kids are growing up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a bigger one. Well, you get all the new footage out there of the bullying and everything else with kids, and I know it's somewhat a bigger issue now than what it used to be.
The issue has changed. I mean, when I was a kid, I was bullied severely over my weight, even physically assaulted. I was a heavy kid, and that contributed, I believe, to how I saw myself, my body image. I was called a fat pig. These different things. I had my pants ripped off me because they looked too tight on me. And so I started to see that quote-unquote fat pig in the mirror. But back then, going viral was 15 kids knew about it in the lunchroom. Yeah. That's what's changed, where you can be bullied from a million miles away, from 1,000 miles away by all these people you've never met.
Yep.
Where back in my day, it was people you knew.
Oh, yeah, yes.
But the internalization is still the same. Bullying hurts then, it hurts now.
Yep. Yeah, whether there's 15 people or there's 15,000 people,
you perceive it the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus, well, people online and everything else, at least they're not there. You don't have to live with them. You're not seeing them every day, and they're not...
That's true, Clint, except if you define your world by acceptance, that's not going to matter.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's true.
Because you want the acceptance from those people as well. Acceptance can be as powerful, the need for acceptance can be as powerful a drug as any artificial substance in the right person.
Sometimes even more, especially
That's
if you
right.
look at superstars and you got somebody that's up on stage and they've got the love of millions, and then one day they don't have the millions around. They're like, okay, I got to do something drastic to get these people back to looking at me again and accepting me.
If you just look at all the behaviors that can be driven by that, taking that first line of coke, doing that first drink, getting in a car with somebody who's drunk, the need for acceptance.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about some different things between teenage, midlife, and once you get to 50 plus, and some different thoughts on that whenever it comes to body image and acceptance. And men and women, different age groups relate to the world a little bit differently. They get related to differently. So what do we need to look at we'll start off with teens, things to look at for that, for maybe helping out a teenage kid that's going through those issues of...
Well, one thing that I've been promoting is what I call EVE. I think parents should be teaching their kids empathy, empowerment, education, and voice. You have to have empathy for people who are different from you, and that is passed down generationally.
Yeah.
Teaching kids that kids who are heavier, kids who are disabled, kids who are different some way, you have to be empathetic to those struggles. And then we have to empower our children to speak out for those kids. And we empower them through education, educating them about fat talk, educating them about, what eating disorders are, and, and the different struggles other kids can be going through, whether it's maybe that or disabled or even alcohol. And then once we teach them that, then they can develop voice to stand up for those children.
Okay.
That's what we have to be teaching them, because all of this is, a lot of this is learned.
Yeah, so basically it's you see somebody that maybe isn't fitting in, maybe there's an issue there, maybe go find out what the issue is, why they're having it, and help them get through that.
Well, you're not expected to know all the answers, but
Oh, yeah.
everyone can say, me too.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, or you can say, I'd like to help you out with that.
I understand your pain. How can I help? You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have yet advanced to that to ask that question, to just be empathetic and say, I feel your pain. How can I help?
Yep.
Whether it's a friend you think may be having problems at home, whether it's a friend who is going through eating issues, whether it's a friend who may be going through addiction issues. There's no cost to saying, how can I help?
Yeah, because you can always find somebody that can provide that help.
Then you can go on a joint journey through education and figuring that out. But sometimes somebody just wants to know that they're not alone. I get that email every week from men and women, whether it's going through eating disorders, going through addiction, saying, Brian, thank you. I thought I was the only one.
Hi.
That is the common theme of people who come to me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that out there. Let's look at from teens jumping into midlife. So people, guys in their 30s, because a lot of stuff happens in your 30s. You're not quite to midlife yet, but you've been through high school, you've been through college, you're into your business, your work life. You got maybe wife, kids, and everything else, and maybe you were an athlete before, you're not an athlete anymore. You've changed. You put on 30, 40 pounds, whatever, and of course, you start having some body image issues of, well, this is what I used to be like. Now I'm like this.
Sure.
What do I do
That's
about
normal.
this? Yeah.
That's normal.
So, any thoughts on somebody that's in that age range in the 30s, 40s, and they're kind of in that midlife crisis.
Assuming someone doesn't have dysfunctional body image issues already, and
Yeah.
we're just talking in a vacuum of normal, healthy behavior, I think everyone has to evaluate based on where they are in life, what a healthy lifestyle is for them. Again, it's education, so you can empower yourself to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Or they've gone the other route, and they're starting to go overboard, going off the deep end of going through massive amounts of change because of some body image issues.
Now, what kind of change? You'd have to tell me what kind of change. Over-exercise, compulsive exercise?
Yeah, over-exercise, compulsive exercise, because that does happen quite a bit.
Absolutely, and that is one of the fastest-growing forms of body dysmorphia issues of young males. And it was an issue for me as well. I abused steroids. I almost lost my leg from steroid abuse using dirty needles. I had plastic surgery till I went broke. That's the only reason I stopped. It's because I ran out of credit card stays. So if you're going through those things, I have to think you have to evaluate just like you would earlier in life, where is all that coming from? it's one thing to live a healthy lifestyle. It's one thing to live an obsessive exercise lifestyle to where it's affecting your ability to function normally in life. You're missing social engagement. You're not leaving the house other than exercising. You're exercising 4 and 5 hours a day with and you're not an athlete.
Yeah.
That has some defined goal that's part of what they do. And you're doing all these.
And you're getting paid to do it too.
And you're doing all. You're using as a young child, as a teen, or even as an adult. You're using steroids, anabolic steroids that you're getting on the black market. We won't talk about growth. We won't talk about testosterone, which you can get legally. But you're using anabolic steroids, getting them on the black market for no purpose other than body image. Mm-hmm. Right there, that tells you there's a problem.
Yeah, so there's that thing, and for any of the guys that are out there that are going through the issue, because there's a lot of that, and a lot more of that now because of all the bikini and figure fitness stuff that's going on. That's starting to catch on like wildfire, and the guys are getting into that as well, especially in the 30s and 40s.
Absolutely, and you have people who may have genetic predispositions to eating disorders who get triggered into what is called exercise bulimia, and what that is when you start offsetting exercise and calories. Where you go into the mindset, well, I have to run this so many miles because I'm going to eat this.
Yep, I'm going to eat this. I've got to burn off X amount of calories
for some people, that's a thought process that's not good, but isn't going to trigger them. But for many people, that can be a thought process that can trigger you into an eating disorder. So it really depends where you're coming from, what your background is, what your genetics are, how you were, what the psychological predispositions are.
Okay, yeah, which that does happen quite a bit. And of course, I'm in that industry, so I do see it on occasion where somebody they would get led into that while they're trying to do something good for themselves, and they go too far into it.
I think we talked about this. I think that is a big issue in the personal training industry.
Oh yeah.
What do you know about your client? Do they have an eating disorder?
Yeah.
Can they be triggered into something through the way you're training them? Is your training appropriate for someone who has body image issues that are unhealthy body image issues? And so that's a huge issue that trainers need to know information about their client and what their client's going through, and sometimes the client don't want to volunteer that, so it's a tough balance.
Exactly. That may be a 2 or 3 week process of dragging that out of somebody before
it's almost like a pseudo treatment provider client relationship because it has to be based on trust, and it may be a while before you get that info.
Yeah, it does take some time for that. So I do want to thank you for being on here greatly. So if we can, let's talk about your book right quick.
Sure.
Before we get off, and Shattered Image, and it's been out for over a year now.
Been out for over a year. It became a best-selling book on Amazon in its category for eating disorders. And it talks about my struggle with all the things we talked about: eating disorders, addiction, alcoholism, steroid abuse, and suicide. Yeah. And I talk about what took me into that abyss and how I recovered from it. And hopefully it will empower people who feel alone, who feel like they're the only one, to get help.
Yeah. And for anybody out there that'd like to have you come out and speak to their organization or anything like that, how do they get a hold of you?
Just by emailing me at Brian with an I, BRIAN at briancuban.com. I speak at colleges all over the country. I just spoke at Penn State. I spoke at Pitt. I spoke at Baylor. And I'm going to speak at the University of Miami next week.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you're all over the place. I'm following you, flying all over the place, and TV appearances, everything else is fantastic. And for everybody else out there, go check out the book. Get his book, Shattered Image.
Amazon.com.
On Amazon, yes, and get the book. Christmas is coming around the corner, so it's not exactly a light, easy read, but it could help save somebody's life.
It could, and it could just let you know that it's okay to say, I need help.
Thank you for being on here. Brian, anything else from you?
That's all. Just since it is November, I remind all guys when you get up around my age, 53, make sure you're getting that prostate check.
Oh yeah, have fun. Make sure your doctor has small fingers as well. just saying, guys. With that, I'm going to end on that note. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you on the next show.